WYMT TV, sharing the news at home. Live, it's 57 Mountain News, Eastern Kentucky's best source of news and information. With the Mountain News team, Tony Turner, Sheri Sparks, Jay Crawford with sports, and Jeff Noble with weather. 57 Mountain News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sheri Sparks.
And I'm Tony Turner.
Election Day 89 was one with very few surprises, but perhaps the biggest surprise happened in the state's largest race.
Janet Stumbo, who was enormously outspent in the campaign by opponent Barclay Sturgill, won an appeals court seat by almost 5,000 votes. Jeff Franklin takes a look at Stumbo's victory as well as other Big Sandy area winners.
If Judge-elect Stumbo here is half as good a judge as she is a mother to our two children, Eastern Kentucky's in great shape. Judge-elect Janet Stumbo!
This was the scene at Janet Stumbo's election night headquarters as her husband and campaign manager, Ned Pillersdorf, introduced his wife to her supporters as the newest justice to the state appeals court. She said her victory proved 2 points. A candidate doesn't need the permission of the named politicians to run for office, and one doesn't need a lot of money.
And I want to honestly say that this has been a wonderful experience, and no matter how it had come out, I'm glad that I decided to run because it's really demonstrated to me how friendship works.
Stumbo's victory was preceded earlier in the night by the unseating of longtime Pikeville Mayor Dr. William C. Hambly by radio executive and Pikeville businessman Walter May, who praised the outgoing mayor.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mayor Hambly on the tremendous vote that he got tonight. It was surprising to me because the man did not campaign, he didn't buy any advertising, but yet at the same time he did a very respectable vote count tonight. My majority was not as much as people were predicting.
In other mayoral races, Ann Latta will remain mayor of Prestonsburg, as will John David Preston in Paintsville. And in Pike County, Judge Executive Paul Patton pointed to the October announcement of 2 new factories as the key to his victory.
Well, I think obviously that was an important factor in increasing the margin. We won, according to our figures, with about 72% of the vote, and quite frankly, that was more than we thought was possible. And I'm sure that the announcement of the 2 factories into this county over the last 2 or 3 weeks has made a difference in the margin.
And in Martin County, voters also decided to keep Democrat Judge Executive John Callahan in office. From the Big Sandy Bureau, Jeff Franklin, 57 Mountain News.
This is Kevin Myers. In other county judge races around the area, talk at the Leslie County Courthouse yesterday centered on the Judge Executive's race between C. Allen Muncie and J.C. Osborne. Muncie, a former judge, surpassed the political newcomer 3,001 votes to 1,404.
With Judge Wooten and the other candidates from the primary who are going to be happening and the plans that we've outlined in the platform, I think when 4 years ends, the people of Leslie County will see a big difference.
A unique turn in this election saw Muncie's primary opponent, George Wooten, offering future support.
There's so much opportunity in Leslie County, and we're certainly going to work together, all of the people. We're going to pull them together in harmony and really develop Leslie County. Leslie County is full of opportunity.
In other races for Judge Executive in Knott County, the Democratic incumbent Homer Sawyer had an easy time with Coleman Martin, 3,275 votes to 929. In Letcher County, Reuben Watts, the Democratic incumbent, compiled 4,345 votes to Elbert Lee's 2,703. In Lee County, incumbent Douglas Brandenburg fell to Republican candidate L.C. Reese, 1989 to 1674. And in Laurel County, Ledford Carr received 5,005 votes to Ollie Tabor Depew's 2,590. Kevin Myers, 57 Mountain News.
I'm Neil Middleton reporting. Another county judge executive won his bid for re-election in the Cumberland Valley. Bell Judge Executive Curtis Hoskins will remain in office for his second term after defeating Democratic challenger Willie Hendrickson by 1,100 votes.
Oh, I feel great. I feel real great because I didn't work hard. I had the county's business to do, and a lot of these precincts I was never in. I didn't leave. I stayed at the office
Two other hotly contested races were for the Middlesboro and Pineville mayor seats. In Middlesboro, the incumbent Troy Welch defeated former Mayor Chester Wolf by more than 250 votes. And in Pineville, the incumbent Scott Maiden won his re-election bid over Sue North Rice by more than a 4-1 margin.
It's a big change, Neil, from standing here 2 years ago. I was kind of shocked to have won. I got in the race, and everybody said I was too young, I was inexperienced, but the people had the faith in me then, and I think that they do even believe more in me now, so I appreciate it. I look forward to the next 4 years, having an opportunity to serve the people of Pineville, and I'm ready to hit the ground running again.
Oh, I'm very much pleased with the outcome. Have a lot of things in store, and most important thing is, one of the most important thing is the new industrial park, and I'm interested in creating jobs for our area. We are in a depressed area, and they've shut down a lot of mines, and there's not a lot of work, so I'm interested in creating jobs.
One Bell County incumbent did lose his bid for re-election. Three-time magistrate Pearl V. Brock was defeated by Lodge Cox in the 2nd Magisterial District. In Bell County, Neil Middleton, 57 Mountain News.
Coming up, one man reflects on the election.
And also the beginning of the trial involving Larry Mahoney. Stay with us. There's much news to come.
The Audi 3-year test drive. 3 years of German style without the responsibilities of ownership. 3 years of German luxury with none of the scheduled maintenance costs. 3 eminently affordable years with the car you've always desired. Don't let a lease this impressive pass you by.
For the biggest selection, the best price, shop Lexington and the luxury leader Quantrell Audi.
The mining industry of eastern Kentucky needed a rugged leather boot that provided safety steel toes for protection and yet had comfort and style. Well, the Red Wing boot was the unanimous choice. These lightweight wonders could take a licking and keep right on kicking. Rose Brothers department stores have an excellent selection of these tough boots for tender feet, and you will love the Rose Brothers price, too. People don't appreciate the name Red Wing until they try on a pair, so do it as soon as you can at Rose Brothers department stores downtown.
This is Don Davis with more of our great bargains from our 2nd annual Bobby Knight Throw One In sale. Buy any 4-piece bedroom group, and we'll throw in the nightstand. Buy a waterbed, we'll throw in the rail pads. Buy a piano, and we'll throw in a beautiful framed picture or mirror. Buy any living room group, and we'll throw in a pair of lamps. No, don't really throw it. That's Hazard Furniture's 2nd annual Bobby Knight Throw One In sale, because we want to be the first place you think of when you buy furniture and pianos and lamps and pictures and mirrors.
Most of the incumbent sheriff candidates in eastern Kentucky who escaped the May primary election fared well in yesterday's runoff. However, in Letcher County, Sheriff Ben Taylor was unsuccessful in his attempt at a 3rd term. Republican Stephen Banks will take over that seat in January.
No, I don't have any regrets. I think if I had it to do over again, I would probably run the same type of race. I think I'd run a good race, and I feel good about it.
Perry County Sheriff Pearl Couch was able to withstand a strong performance by Democratic challenger Don Bashir in yesterday's election. Couch told reporters afterward his record was a valuable campaign tool.
I've worked hard against the drug problem. I've worked hard against the drunk driving, and I think this is what really cribbed it to my supporters, and that this is what they want. They want this. They want a better and a safer county to live in.
Couch won that race by more than 600 votes. The Kentucky Attorney General's office is continuing to investigate allegations of voter fraud in connection with this election. The number to call to report violations of state voter laws is 1-800-328-VOTE, and you can call during business hours.
Well, in other news, jury selection is underway in the Larry Mahoney murder and drunken driving trial. Mahoney faces 27 counts of murder in a trial that could last 6 weeks or more. During jury selection this morning, the judge asked potential jurors whether they could be fair to Mahoney. Prosecutors say this case is complicated and will require patience.
On the face of this prosecution, it appears to be very straightforward. and very simple and very easy. But when you scratch aside the facade, it is extremely complicated and convoluted and intertwined. It's unlike any case I've ever been involved in before. I think just by the sheer numbers and the sheer magnitude.
The judge ordered the media not to photograph any potential jurors, so there were no TV pictures from the courtroom today. Security is also tight. There's a metal detector outside the courtroom door. Well, state police in Hazard are investigating a robbery yesterday in Leslie County. When Edison and Anita Smith of Stinnett returned to their home around 1 p.m., they found 4 men with ski masks, and the men were armed. The robbers tied up the couple, gagged them, and then escaped with an undetermined amount of cash. Also taken was a 1989 pickup truck, which was later located at the mouth of the hollow near their home.
State police have started an investigation because 2 coal trucks in Pike County were struck by gunfire in an area of a United Mine Workers picket line. The shooting occurred Monday near the entrance of the former Mine 29 Mining and Processing, where about 50 UMWA members have been on strike since early October. The trucks are owned by Oaks Trucking Company, that's a non-union company, which had attempted to run coal across the union picket line when the strike began. Help continues to be offered by federal disaster representatives to victims of last month's flooding. What appears on your screen now is a breakdown of disaster applications received as of the close of business yesterday. These figures include those taken over the telephone as well as applications made at the 4 disaster application centers.
One of the most common forms of drug abuse involves drugs we can get at our local drug store. The biggest abusers can be our parents and our grandparents, and they may not even know it. Dr. Art Uline explains why the elderly are the most vulnerable victims of drug misuse and overuse.
Feeling Fine with Dr. Art Uline, brought to you by Appalachian Regional Healthcare.
People over the age of 60 represent approximately 17% of the U.S. population. Yet they account for more than half of the deaths due to drug reactions. One reason is that older people take more drugs than any other group. But that's not the only reason.
A typical older patient may visit as many as half a dozen doctors for treatment of different ailments. With that many doctors, all prescribing different drugs for the same patient, the chances are high for an adverse drug reaction or interaction. 82-year-old Sally Goldberg was a good example. She came to the Center for Geriatric Health complaining of stomach and chest pain. Doctors here evaluated all of the drugs she was taking and decided that she didn't need 2/3 of them. What's more, some of her drugs were to blame for her chest and abdominal pain. Cases like Sally Goldberg's are not all that rare.
Over-medication probably happens to about 1/4 of all older people on medications.
Older patients often add to the problem themselves by hoarding prescription drugs and using them on their own inappropriately. And often they fail to tell their physicians about the other doctors they are seeing and the other medications they are taking. The poor communication, however, is not entirely the fault of the patient.
One of the problems with working with older people is that their stories take longer. They usually talk in a slower fashion and they've got more to tell. So it does take longer to see older people, and unfortunately studies have shown that, notwithstanding that fact, doctors actually take less time with older people than with younger people.
Older people tend to be more sensitive to many of the medications that are prescribed. Also, their bodies may eliminate the medications more slowly. That's why a dose that is perfectly safe for a young person may cause very serious side effects in an older person. In our next report, we'll show you one modern approach for reducing the incidence of adverse drug reactions in the elderly. I'm Dr. Art Uline.
Feeling Fine with Dr. Art Uline, brought to you by Appalachian Regional Healthcare.
Those rough thunderstorms have come to an end.
And while the skies have cleared in some parts of the region, is it possible the rain's over?
We may need to batten down the hatches. And by the way, we're all awaiting the answer for tonight's forecast. We'll have it for you coming up next.
The remaining 89 Dodges are clearing out quickly, making room for our big 1990 announcement celebration because the 90s are here, and now's the time for a great deal on a Ram Tough pickup. Many trucks with big savings now ready for immediate delivery. Choose full-size pickups or mid-size Dakotas. But hurry, with deals, deals, deals.
Did somebody say deal?
Like these, everyone will want one.
See one of your Southeast Kentucky Dodge dealers.
Over the years, a lot of things have changed.
One thing that hasn't changed is the demand for well-trained tractor-trailer drivers. At Alliance, all we train are tractor-trailer drivers. You'll gain the knowledge and experience you need to become a professional driver. There's an Alliance Training Center near you operating 7 days a week to fit your schedule. So don't delay. Call now. 1-800-334-1203. That's 1-800-334-1203.
My kid always wanted to try something different. Aye, matey. So now he wants to try these new Long John Silver's fish and dip.
That I do.
4 home-style fillets with your choice of dips. Honey mustard, sweet and sour,
Spicy taco,
and barbecue. All for just $2.99.
shiver me timbers.
Kids.
Fish and dips. New at Long John Silver's.
James,
Aye.
I bought you a pet.
Aw, Dad.
Were any of you outside earlier this
Yes, I
morning?
was.
Did you get rained
A little
upon?
bit. A few sprinkles on my head.
Well, I got a lot.
Oh, I stayed indoors and watched everybody else get wet.
I was driving to Letcher County and it really came down.
Yes, it did.
Buckets.
We've got a big line of showers and thunderstorms to the west of us around Lexington and Bowling Green, which is moving our way. And once this moves out, we should have more perfect conditions. In other words, it should be decent, partly sunny, but cooler for a little while. But keep in mind the rain is coming our way. Okay. And it could be heavy at times. More on that shortly. Let's talk about the Whitesburg Rotary Club right now, because they're offering a scholarship to a Letcher County student who'll be attending school in the winter semester of 1990, which happens to be in a couple of months or so. Now, the deadline to enter is on November 27th. Applications are now available from the Whitesburg Rotary Club. And if you need some more information, call 633-2226. Let's go to Letcher County, come to think of it, and here's the night's weather picture from Joe Ison from the Isom community of Letcher County. Today's high and low looks like this. 65 for the high today, 59 the day's low. That is above our normal high and low for this very day. Now, at last report, we had 9/10 of an inch of rain and thunderstorms at the Weather Service office. The amount now is 1.23 for the month of November. And we're at 57.73 for the year. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:06. The sunset tomorrow night at 5:28. Friends, if you think we're finished with all the rain and thunderstorms this evening, we're not out of the woods yet. We had those heavy showers and thunderstorms this morning, and then later on skies began to clear up. But as you've noticed, the clouds are back once again. And what's happening is this low has now moved to Indiana and also a cold front along with it. Cooler, drier air behind the cold front of the Midwest, but it's meeting all the warm, moist air down here in the southeastern states. So the two are combining, and they're bringing those showers and thunderstorms, and some of those have been heavy around the deep south as well. On the radar this evening, you can see some very heavy thunderstorms off the North Carolina coast. More rain from Virginia back to Maryland, also down from Georgia to Alabama and Louisiana, also Mississippi as well. And here's the line we're keeping an eye on right now. It's going from Vanceburg back over towards Lexington and Bowling Green, and is moving towards the east our way at this present time. On the area radar, here it is again, from Maysville back to the west of Lexington, going towards Bowling Green. Some of these showers and thunderstorms can be heavy at times, and we're expecting a 90% chance of them for this evening as well. So batten down the hatches. It should be out of here after midnight, and we should expect cooler temperatures and some light drizzle to carry us in for tomorrow morning. Speaking of tomorrow, mostly sunny skies are expected, also cooler temperatures with a high in the 50s as the cold front finally sweeps across the east. But things will be getting better for Friday and for the weekend as temperatures gradually warm up, as we expect partly cloudy skies for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the first of next week as well. Right now, skies are mostly cloudy. The temperature 62, the humidity at 68%, barometer 29.57, and falling, and the winds from the southeast at 7 miles per hour. On the area temperature map, 68 degrees at Pikeville, Williamson, West Virginia, and Paintsville have 64. Martin shows 63 degrees, 65 at Whitesburg and Hazard. Harlan has 66. Middlesboro with 64, 66 at Williamsburg. McKee and Barberville have 67 degrees. London shows 68, and over at Bearville in Knott County, the temperature there is 61 degrees. Here's your forecast for tonight. A 90% chance for rain and thunderstorms. Again, some of those could be heavy at times. And then partly cloudy and cooler with light drizzle after midnight. Overnight low should be 43 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny and cooler with a high of 55. Then tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 38. A little chilly. For Friday, partly sunny, 55 the high for that day. And the 3-day sneaky peek for Saturday through Monday calls for warmer with little or no chance of rain for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 58 should be the high on Saturday, going to the 60s for Sunday and Monday. Overnight low should be in the 30s for Saturday, but it warms up to about 43 degrees for Monday night. So we may have a pleasant weekend in our midst here.
Just get over tonight.
Yes, indeed.
That's right. Thank you, Jeff.
Unfortunately, basketball recruiting can be just as unpredictable as the weather, and what turned into, or what was good news last night, may be bad news today.
That's right. Real tough to predict. Early word said Dwayne Morton might choose Kentucky over Louisville, but he didn't. We'll tell you that story and much more coming up next in sports.
You've always strived for something beyond the basic necessities. At First Security Bank and Trust, we can help with a loan for whatever you have in mind. Home loans, auto loans, or personal loans, tailored to fit your individual needs at rates you can afford. So if you're ready to borrow, First Security is ready to lend, because we invest in our future by investing in your future. First Security Bank and Trust Company, Whitesburg, sharing the American dream. Member FDIC.
It's here. It started. Lotto has come to make new Kentucky millionaires. And just one more thing. Now, summarizing my key points.
Play Lotto Kentucky. Tickets are on sale now, and the drawing is at 7:28 p.m. on, well, take a wild guess. It's a whole new reason to love Saturdays.
At Cardinal Chevrolet Cadillac Geo, we constantly work on our game plan to offer you the best prices on quality, popular GM vehicles. Customer satisfaction is of the utmost importance, and that's why we offer you better deals and back it up with top motor service and parts departments. Trade with the winners and join the team of satisfied Cardinal customers. Cardinal Chevrolet Cadillac Geo, Hazard, Kentucky.
The Frontier Nursing Service in Hyden began with Mary Breckenridge and her nurses on horseback. We've been providing health care for 3 generations through our district nursing centers. The Mary Breckenridge Hospital and Hyden Clinic, Hyden Medical Center, the Kate Ireland Women's Health Care Center, and our home health agency, Frontier Nursing Service. Nurses working together with doctors to provide you with the finest health care available. We know how to care for you.
Today is always a big day in college basketball circles. It marks the first day of the early signing period, and if you land big fish today, it usually means good things for your program down the road. One of the state's top players, Dwayne Morton of Louisville Central, was involved in a recruiting war between Kentucky and Louisville, and today at his high school, he announced his decision.
I decided to stay home and attend the University of U of L. I wanted to stay close to my mom. I have a lot of friends here, so I think that's my best choice. And I'll be a future Cardinal.
Now, with Kentucky losing Morton, they still have one available scholarship to give, but the problem is the player they wanted to give it to is no longer available. Steve Davis of Corinth, Mississippi, was next in line if Morton said no. However, he did not want to wait on leftovers, so he signed with Ole Miss this morning. The Cats did, however, get a signature from Davis's teammate as expected, Carlos Toomer. Brooklyn prep star Jamal Mashburn is expected to sign with Kentucky sometime tonight. One other note on recruiting, this is kind of interesting, that Rowan County star Kelly Wells signed with the University of Tulsa. The 6'7", 210-pounder averaged 19 points per game. He's led the Vikings to 3 straight Sweet 16 appearances. He was also named the top preseason player in the 16th region in the soon-to-be-available East Kentucky Boys High School Basketball Yearbook. All right, the final AP high school football polls were released this morning, and the Pikeville Panthers end the year the way they started it in the polls. In Class A, they remain, or they finally regain their #1 spot. They are 10-1. Trigg County lost to the top team in Class 2A, so they fall to 2. 2. Bath County, Heath, and Frankfort round out the top 5. Pineville lost to Paris 18-14, so they drop out of the top 5. They did receive votes. Class 2A, Mayfield, Danville, Corbin is up 1 from 4, Fort Knox, and Fort Campbell. In Class 3A, Fort Thomas Highlands, Paducah Tillman, Bowling Green, and Bell County remain tied for the third. Bell County 11-0, Covington Catholic is 5th, Breathitt County and Belfry received votes. An interesting matchup of a couple of area teams takes place in the Class 2A high school football playoffs this Friday. That will be when Whitesburg visits Corbin. Both teams have been hurting with injuries lately, especially in the backfield, and Whitesburg coach Tom Searcy knows what he's up against in the Red Hounds.
He's got a lot of running backs, and he's got a strong offensive line. They do a very good job in the offseason with the program. They got a lot of kids out for football, and anytime you get that kind of numbers out, you definitely can get the backups. Not only do you get the starters, but you also get the backups that you need.
All right, UK football. The Wildcats have a golden opportunity to break their losing ways on the road this week. They travel to Nashville to play Vanderbilt, and Kaywood Ledford believes they'll finally come home with a big win.
Kentucky players are dressing for the game Saturday down in Nashville. There'll be a knock at the door. If the players don't answer, the knocker may kick the door down. The knocker is called opportunity. When opportunity knocks, let him in. The Wildcats don't just have an opportunity, they have a golden opportunity to get the monkey off their backs. An opportunity to get rid of the Hicks. An opportunity to halt not one, but 2 unwanted streaks. Kentucky has lost 14 consecutive games on the road, 15 straight against SEC teams. They can halt both those unwanted streaks by beating Vanderbilt. It's the best shot they have this season because after Vandy, a tough Florida team will be all that's left on the road. Kentucky should beat Vanderbilt. The Wildcats have more experience, more depth, and to be perfectly frank, more talent. Vandy will throw the ball and throw and throw and throw. The Commodores have gained over 3 times as much yardage through the air as they have on the ground. John Gromos will put the ball in the air as many as 60 times during a game. That can keep defensive backs awake nights. Kentucky's last 2 trips to Nashville have found the Cats coming home on the short end of the score. The Commodores have been successful against Kentucky, waiting until they get in a scrimmage, then calling the play. The Cats will have to disguise their defenses. My prediction is this. Kentucky will listen to Mr. Opportunity Saturday, beat Vanderbilt, and get rid of those 2 ugly losing streaks. I'm Kaywood Ledford.
Okay, let's check the answer now to the sports quiz. The question, who holds the UK record for most rushing yards in a single game? Mark Higgs, Ivy Joe Hunter, Alfred Rawls, or Sonny Collins?
Oh boy, loaded gun over here, folks. I'm going to say Alfred Rawls.
Sonny Collins for some reason.
I'm going to go with Sonny.
No, it's Ivy Joe Hunter. Boy, he had a good one against Vanderbilt, 1986, 238 yards. Let's hope we can get another performance like that against Vanderbilt Saturday.
Okay, Jay, thank you. You don't have to spend a lot of money on your musical instruments. We'll tell you more when we return.
Okay, Donnie, that'll be a total of $12,200 signed right here.
All right, now wait a minute. Before I sign anything, I want to know what my payments are going to be.
Okay, Pat, tell us what kind of payment Donnie's going to have.
Yes, it's anybody's guess as to what payment Donnie will get. Oh, it looks like a big one. $347 a month. Congratulations, Donnie, on a great deal.
Remember, at Bruce Walters, we won't play games with your payment. You'll get a fair deal here.
When it comes to making beautiful music, there are different avenues to take, such as spoons. But we found another source of enjoyment. It's the saw, one of the most inexpensive musical instruments you can find. World champion saw player Charles Hardy has a lot of fancy saws, but his favorite one costs $3.97 at the hardware store.
In actuality, the cheaper saws play even better than some of the more expensive. You have to put an S-curve in it, and the S-curve is really the secret behind getting sound out of a saw. I always had a good ear for music, which is very necessary in playing the saw. I consider it a very serious occupation or avocation. I'd like to do it until I die, really.
It's not as easy as it looks, however. Charles Hardy is 64, and he's been practicing the saw for 52 years.
Okay. What do they call them? Sawyers?
An accomplished saw player.
An accomplished sawyers, yes.
I would say Zamfir has nothing on this one at all.
A little bit hard to dance to, the saw.
Give it a 48.
What can we expect?
We expect some rain and thunderstorms, 90% chance for this evening. Some of those could be heavy, but they should be out of here after midnight. We should return to cloudy skies and drizzle.
All right. Sports.
More on the upcoming football playoffs Friday. We'll have that for you tonight at 11 o'clock.
Keep your fingers crossed it doesn't rain tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know.
And tonight at 11?
We will have more on the Larry Mahoney trial.
Okay. That all comes your way tonight at 11 o'clock. CBS Evening News is next with Dan Rather. Have a good night, everyone.
Mountain News is a presentation of WYMT TV, Eastern Kentucky's source for news.